back to my channel. My name is TK Hlongwane and I'm so happy to have you here. If you are returning subscriber, thank you so much for having faith in me, even if it's only my second video. I really appreciate it. And if you are here for the first time, thank you so much for clicking. If you were referred here, thank you so much for being obedient to whoever said that you should be here. I really appreciate it. And yeah, if you find that when you are here, you really like what I'm talking about, I'd really appreciate it if you were to click on the subscribe button and press on like and then leave a comment for me so that I know what you guys like and you know what you'd like to see going forward. So let's just recap on my previous video. First of all, thank you so much. I posted it on Monday and I've got about 88 views so far. That is amazing. I really appreciate it. And the last time I checked, I was on 22 subscribers. So I appreciate it so much, guys. I really appreciate it. I know it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So you guys doing that really means a lot to me. And then also, it was such an amazing learning experience for me, recording my first video. Recording is not difficult for me because I think generally as someone who's into public speaking, being on camera and just talking is something that I'm comfortable with. So there's no need for second takes. And if I make a mistake, I just make it work because whatever, But, the uploading of the video, it took me a full day. Obviously, it was a long video, which was 40 minutes. And also learned that depending on the quality of the video, the height is, obviously, I'm still recording from my iPhone. And I pressed on is it 4K, 60, whatever specs that helped the video to be really good. So that took longer. So I'm hoping this video is shorter. Well, it's going to be shorter, probably about 15 minutes. And then because also I'm not doing any get ready with me, so it's just me talking, which I think is going to be faster than if I do both, which in future, obviously, I will combine the two, but I'll find a way to make it shorter if there is a need. I know sometimes you are less for like a long video, and other times you just want like something to watch while you're taking a bath or something like that, which is what I do. I watch YouTube videos when I'm busy with something else. Anyway, so besides for all those learnings, another thing that was quite tricky is the adding of the music, right? So I decided to add the music using the YouTube video app once. I had uploaded it and everything like that, and it put music longer than I wanted to, so it was talking over my intro. Then I had to remove it. So I know some of you unfortunately had a not so great experience with the first video where the first 3 minutes was music over it. I had to remove the music because it was annoying me. And then with this one, I'll see what I do. I'll probably add the music before I upload it on YouTube. It might be easier for me this time. And then as I learn my way around the YouTube studio, then I'll be able to create even better videos. So thank you so much. I'm really proud of myself for starting. It's so easy to talk about doing something for the longest time and then you don't do it. You take long, you want to perfect it, you want to have, the right equipment and everything like that. I mean, right now I just have my phone and my ring lights, and I'll get a tripod in future. I'll get a camera or whatever else will help me in making sure that the quality is on point. Okay, cool. So what are we talking about today? We are continuing with our conversation from the last time where I spoke to you guys about, being diagnosed with fibroids. And that is the reason I'm not doing a get ready with me, because I really want us to wrap it up and finish this conversation, because also I have a blog already that I think I was quite detailed in my experience. So please do go there. I will add the link once again in my description parts so that you can see. It is in 3 parts. I talk about being diagnosed, then I talk about my stay in hospital, and then I talk about my recovery. So those are all the different aspects of my fibroid journey, and I mean the journey continues today. So if you have watched the first video, if you haven't, please go back. But anyway, because I'm a nice person, I'm going to just wrap up what I spoke about in the first video. So I spoke a bit about, when I got diagnosed, which was in 2019. And then I went for my op last year. And how, that year between being diagnosed and then finally going for my op, the emotional up and down that I went through, that I've also discovered that other ladies who've been through a similar experience or the same experience being diagnosed with fibroids or anything that has to do with the reproduction system, the emotions that go with it, why you feel like, why am I the one chosen to bear this thing, you know. I was making an example with someone, and I'm not saying it's exactly the same because it's not, you know. I think people who are diagnosed with cancer, I wonder how they feel, because you're like, what have I done to deserve this? You know, obviously cancer is ugly, it's terrible, it's the worst disease ever. But I can only imagine what they go through if someone like me felt this way with something like that. And I'm usually somebody who is described as being strong, which is a label that I absolutely hate, because it doesn't allow you to be vulnerable, because you're so strong that even when you are vulnerable to people, they tell you, oh, but you're so strong. It's like, no, I'm not trying to be strong right now, you know. So it can be very tricky. But I wanted us to continue with, you know, from then going to hospital, my stay there, and then the healing, but also the messages that I've been receiving since I've written my blog. I think it's very important for you guys to realize how many people are going through this and what my blog has meant to them. And yeah, actually, please do go to my blog. It's called TK the Speaker on WordPress, but I'll put on the link there here again. But yeah, it's amazing. I mean, my blog site has reached, I found out on Sunday last week actually, that my blog site has reached 5,000 viewers. I mean, that is amazing. I've got people all over the world reading that material. So I really believe that, you know, God had asked me to do that. And I'm so grateful that I was obedient and I was able to share something so personal with strangers. And, you know, it was well received. Okay, fine. Let's go back to fibroids. Cool. So last year, November, I get a date of when my op will take place, which I'm still trying to remember. Yeah, I think it was the 27th of November. It was a Tuesday. I needed to be at the hospital at 6 a.m. And you know, when you go for an op the night before, you're not allowed to eat until 10 o'clock. So went through that whole thing. But also before that, what was so amazing, because one of my stresses was how the support, you know, I know my sister's got my back, my older sister, and she's got a family that will help me as well. But I'm very independent, and the idea of people helping me, especially when it means physical help, was daunting. Hence, I took so long to actually go for an op, because just the thought that, oh my goodness, people are going to have to look after me, I was not for that. So a few days before my op, I said to my sister, you know, what my idea is regarding getting help. And she's like, no, me and the kids have it figured out. This is what we're going to do. So, you know, and I was like, whoa, I'm so blessed that I have an older sister who can even engage her children to see how they're going to support me and everything. So that was great. So what happened is Monday, I don't live far from my sister. We're about 5 to 6 kilometers apart. So that's great. She's basically the next neighborhood. And then, so I drove to her house around about 5:30. We prayed together, and then she drove me to the hospital. She's like 2 streets away from that hospital. So hence it was also convenient for me that, sorry about that. I had to stop the video because I could hear noises outside from my neighbors having a fat chat, and my windows were open. So yeah, it was really disturbing me. So sorry about that. But as we continue, so fine. What happens is then my sister drives me to the hospital, and you know, you get administered. Whatever, they register me, blah, 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 into the whole thing, fine. So yes, then I have an op right about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It was quite hectic, but you guys can go read all about that. But my stay in hospital was so pleasant in a way that I was treated well. I guess it helps that it was in a private institution. So, you know, whenever I relay my story, people say, it would have been different in a public hospital, which I do agree. We know that public hospital system in South Africa is a bit tricky and dodgy, and you know, it's not the best customer service. And I felt in Sunwood Park Hospital, they gave me really, really great 5-star service. I remember as I was lying on the op table, and you know, everyone introducing, there's like 10 people telling you what their purpose in this op is going to be. Hectic. But I also think they're trying to get you all relaxed, and then the anesthetician comes and then does her thing as well, and then the next thing, you are in your room after everything has happened, you're in pain, and there's so much drama happening around you. But just to go back to when everyone was introducing me to themselves to me, so my doctor says to me, she asked me, so how has the service been so far? I'm like, no, it's been great. Says, no, you know what? We're going to give you a spa treatment, like a 5-star service. I said, no, hold up. I'm all for great customer service, but don't be so nice that I enjoy staying here. No, don't do it. which everyone found funny. But yeah, I was like, there is a limit to these, to this 5-star treatment. But yeah, like they were saying, it was gonna be great. The nurses were really gentle with me and everything like that. But what I must tell you, so what happens is, obviously I have no idea, actually should have asked, I don't know how long was my op. I had a few complications, hence I stayed in hospital for about 8.5 days. Can I say 8 or 7.5? So I went in on a Tuesday and then came out the next Tuesday afternoon. Yeah. So it's like 8.5 days. And what was so hectic is that I remember this so vividly, that when they got me into the room where, my room, I was actually sharing with someone when I arrived. And I could just hear panic, people saying that I lost so much blood, and people talking about my blood type because they didn't know. And I could hear that. I remember answering in that state of, disorientation and saying, I'm O positive. And they're like, okay, cool. Then, whatever. They got me blood and everything. I remember I actually had 5 packets that they, throughout the next 2 days after my op, they had to do blood transfusion. I've always been someone who was into blood donation, but now I really, really understand the value because I lost a lot. Imagine 5, that is a lot, guys. That is like 2.5 liters of blood that had to come into my body because I had lost that much. Hence my stay in hospital was also long. It doesn't happen to everyone. Everyone else that I've spoken to so far has never stayed as long as I have. So don't panic if you haven't gone for your op thinking you're gonna be there for long. It's usually 3 to 4 days. It just so happens that I had a few complications that made it a bit tricky for me to leave early. And even the day that the doctor decided to discharge me is because I was starting to get into some depressive kind of mode. I wasn't diagnosed. I'm just saying, when you just said and you can't do this anymore kind of thing. And then she said she felt that, it would be best for me to go and recover at home because she feels like the environment is not helping me in that situation. So fine, no problem. They sort me out. Then they moved me to my own room. It was a huge room. Oh, very, very big room with my own bathroom and everything like that. So that was nice. I had my privacy and everything like that. I spent most of my time just sitting, didn't even watch TV because I'm not really a TV person. And so, yeah, that was what happened. The nurses were kind to me. But the complications that happens besides blood, needing more blood, is that my temperature was always high. Every time they came to take my temperature, I had constipation for about 4 days. So obviously that was not cool. And they couldn't discharge me until I've had my first poop. I never knew that my what do you call it? What do they call it? Your bowel movement would be, a matter of discussion every day. We're like, have you pooped yet? No, But what I also find interesting about the medical system, if I can put it that way, and how people in the medicine field, like they never prescribe something that is natural, which was so interesting. Okay, fine. So I can't poop. They give me this popular pill that you take to poop. Then it was like just a little bit of water coming out of my bum, and then that was it. I didn't poop, And then a friend of mine said to me, but prunes are great for that. I said, yeah. I spoke to the nurses, so they don't have anything like that. I thought maybe they'll go and buy it and, just add it to my medical bill. They didn't do that. So I remember on the Sunday, my friend came to visit. Well, it was a legal visit. At least I could walk by then. It was quite tricky, but I could walk to reception. And then she had 6 bottles of prune juice and like a whole big bag of prunes. Her name is Pamela. I love that girl. Actually, miss her so much. She's now in the UK. Anyway, so she brought that. And then by that evening, I had my first poop, And I was like, but don't medical practitioners understand these things? Like they never want to give you a natural option, which I always find very interesting, that why they wouldn't do that and everything like that. But anyway, it happened. And then I pooped, so no problem. But it was really such a struggle, And then I thought, okay, anytime now they're going to release me. And it still didn't happen until obviously, I remember one day, this was actually quite a big deal for me, where the doctor obviously kept checking me every day. And on a weekend when she wasn't working, there was another doctor who came to check me. And I remember on the Monday when she said to me, so how are you doing? I said, I'm not okay. She says, really? You look fine. I'm like, no, I actually cried last night, which I had, because I was just feeling so tired. Imagine being in this room. My apartment is very light. There's so much light that comes through this apartment. As you can see, there's white walls everywhere. My kitchen is white. Like, it's very white, which I love. I am that person. I love that energy of sunlight coming through. Hospitals are generally quite dark. I just see nurses. I didn't even see other patients. And more, because I was in a maternity ward, obviously I was going to see like pregnant women or those who've just given labor and everything like that. So yeah. And also on days when which was something I was doing, I'd walk to the canteen and just to stretch my legs and to get my body moving, because that's what they suggested as well. So yeah, that was that. But I knew there was no way I could stay there any longer. At least she got it, and she was able to release me the next day, after 7.5 days. Says, you know what, I think you will recover better at home, which was really great. Then fine. I know I'm not touching much about the hospital stay. Please go and read my blog on TK the Speaker if you want more detail. Okay, don't want to repeat myself. And also, what I've realized, that when I first wrote the blog, it was 2 months fresh from the, from having the op. So now to talk about it, it's so diluted. It's not the same as how I put it in the blog. I think there was more emotion and more like real life experience. Now I'm just like recapping so that you guys know, and also to take you back to my blog and everything. Fine, I get released. My sister comes and collects me and takes me to my place. Also arranges that my 18-year-old nephew stays with me during that time. So he stayed with me, I think, for just a week or just over a week, which was really great. I didn't need help with like getting ready or taking a bath or anything like that, or getting out and in bed. I mean, if you can get out of bed from those high, uncomfortable hospital beds, I mean, my bed was easier. But I think also what helped is that in hospital already on day 3, after they had removed that thing, that catheter or whatever that comes in your body, where you do everything there and you don't move, by day 2 they removed it, and I had to start moving by myself. They washed me once, and then the next day I washed in the basin. And I think by day 5, I was able to shower. That was a huge thing for me. I was like, what? I can shower? So by the time I got home, I could get myself in and out of bed. I could bath, but for the first 3 days, I had to ask that, the bath be wiped for me, because unfortunately I don't have a shower. So those are the only things I really needed help with. Obviously, then my nephew would wash dishes. My sister was so incredible. I am so blessed to have an older sister like my sister. She really has my back. So, she made sure I had food, whether it was cooked food or if I sent a text wanting something where it was medication or whatever, she would help me with that and bring it to my house. Sunday, she would come with her family. For about 3 weeks, every Sunday would have a lunch together as a family, which was so incredible, which I loved so much, especially for someone who stays alone. I love my space, but during that time, it was so great to actually have family around me and everything. And yeah, so my nephew stayed with me. And then in the next few weeks, I had my niece coming over during the day, because my sister would go to work, and then I would stay with my niece. We were like babysitting each other. She was making sure I'm not alone, and I was making sure that she's not alone at her house. So it was great. But that happened. But what was so tricky about this whole experience is that as much as, you were getting better, but other things started developing. Like my back pain got worse. Like back pain was really, really bad. Also, I was not sleeping at all. I only slept when first the painkillers I got, which were quite strong. And then when I didn't have the painkillers, I couldn't sleep at all. I had to go back to the doctor, and then they prescribed my gynecologist, and she prescribed a very strong sleeping pill. But what was so hectic about the sleeping pill, like it really knocks you out for 8 hours straight. And after that, it stops immediately and the pain come back. So that was a lot. I really didn't think that the healing process would be as confusing as it was. I thought it will get better, but one thing gets better and another thing gets worse, So that was the tricky part for me, where I'm like, when am I going to get better? When I had after 2 weeks, I think I had my check-in with the doctor. My sister had to pick me up, and obviously sitting, the seat belt was still a bit uncomfortable. I only started driving on week 5. which was also a bit tricky, but I got better. I mean, the more I did it and everything like that, but really, really, really uncomfortable. I know there's people that really need more help than I did. And, but I think because mentally I prepared myself that I'm going to get active as quickly as I can, take a walk around the estate, in the house. I never sat for a long time and everything, so that I could get my body moving, which I feel helped a lot. Now let's wrap it up. You guys get it. And as usual, please go to my blog to read more about it if you are interested in this topic. I want to talk about writing those blogs about fibroids. The pictures obviously are very graphic. I mean, I told you from the last video that I had 5. The gynae had seen 5 fibroids, but actually on the day on the day of the op, they found 13. I had 13 fibroids growing in my tummy, ranging from this big, I'm not joking, to really that tiny. I actually have a picture on my blog where you can see how huge it was, and only because I only got to see it because the nurse actually was like, "Oh, your thing is stuffy," and I saw it and I took a picture. She thought I was weird, and the rest were inside that bucket, but the huge one was right on top. And then it made sense why my tummy was so big, so yeah, that. So also, the response from my blog has been people saying, they feel like they have someone that they can relate to after they've discovered this. Others have continued after that to say, you know what, even though I had my op years ago and now I have children, the way you put things in that blog made me feel like finally I can express how I was feeling. Like I said in my previous videos, our generation, and I'm 40, so the generation that is like your early 80s and 70s and before that, I feel like feelings, we don't talk about feelings. And when you are even asked, how do you feel? You don't know how to articulate it because we're so not in touch in how we feel. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Like, you don't know how to describe how you feel because for so long you've been told that it's weak to show feelings, and everything like that. And feelings doesn't mean crying. Feeling can be like feeling betrayed, feeling hopeless, feeling like, you've been given a hard life to deal with, and everything like that. And I think the more you deal with your feelings, the more you're able to let go and accept what is going on. Because yes, you can be drowning in that feeling and feeling like, oh my God, this sucks, this is not great. But I feel like the more you say it and release it, it's not going to be a song where you're like always talking about it. You release it and then you accept, because you need to accept. Like, girl, you can't be sitting here and feeling sorry for yourself forever. And you can't keep asking why me, because you don't know why you. So, okay, sharp. Let's keep it moving, So yeah, that's basically what I saw from people. And yeah, I really would appreciate it if you guys keep going there, to view it and like and leave a message there and refer other people to that blog where I talk about fibroids. But like I said before, I talk about all other things. Okay, so that's it about my fibroid story. I will not be talking further about this unless something else comes up that I feel is worth mentioning. Then I will create another video. So that's done. So if you're not interested in fibroids, please rest assured this is likely to be the last video for that. The next video, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do, but I would like to do like your step-by-step makeup videos, because my passion is in teaching and I want to really teach you guys the basics, because I feel like now that we are more comfortable with wearing makeup, especially as Black women, I feel like there's a lot of things in the streets, I'm talking social media, where people don't understand why they do what they do in terms of makeup, and therefore everyone is doing a copy and paste. And it shouldn't be like that. Well, I don't think it should be copy and paste, because we all have different features. And for me, wearing makeup is about accentuating your features, or, bringing out something. For instance, I've got chubby cheeks, even though today I may not have contoured my face. I know when I contour, I really will chisel it, make it more contoured, my nose or whatever, depending on the feel and vibe that I'm going for the day. So there's so many tricks and tips that I'm looking forward to share with you. I will do get readies with me, but I find that they take long because talking and doing this at the same time is tricky. But we'll see what works. So like I said before, please do not be shy to leave a message, a comment on my videos and tell me what else you'd like to see. But I also would like to talk more about real life stuff that I've dealt with, because our testimonies are really so important. You know, when you know that someone else has gone through what you've gone through, and it doesn't have to be something ugly. Please, we're not going to talk about things that made us sad all the time. Sometimes it might be an aha moment that I want to share with you. Okay, this video is getting too long now. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for coming back. Please, I know sometimes you view something and you forget to like, you forget to subscribe. I would really appreciate it if you could just click on that subscribe button, if you could just like it, send a comment, and share as well. So until next time, keep well. I love you guys so much and I appreciate the love. Until next time, bye.